How's it going, everyone? It's Ollie from Marshall Shot. Today is February 26, 2021, and today we're going to talk about this next potential or pretty much inevitable snowstorm that's going to impact the Midwest, as well as the potential severe weather threat that could maybe happen going into next week. But before I begin, make sure to subscribe if you want to see more weather-related content. Make sure to like if you like this video, and make sure to turn on post notifications if you want to see even more weather-related content. So let's begin by taking a look at the potential snowstorm that's going to impact the Midwest. So if we head 48 hours from now, you see that there's a relatively large area of snow depicted by the GFS model, where we see that the snow extends to South Dakota and Nebraska, and we also see the snow extending to Minneapolis and a lot of Wisconsin as well, but especially northern Wisconsin. And you see that we do see the darker shades of blue, which represent heavier snowfall rates. So this could potentially cause some trouble for you guys right around the Midwest, right around the Minneapolis area. And you see that it's at 1,003 millibars, so it isn't the strongest storm in the world, and it isn't really considered a mid-latitude cyclone, because with a mid-latitude cyclone, we typically see an extending band of rain on the backside, which is connected to this northwestern part of the low pressure system, where there's typically a lot of snow during the winter. But in this case, the storm isn't really strong enough, or there isn't really enough unstable air or enough of a jet stream dip or enough vorticity to really make it look like a mid-latitude cyclone, or really be any sort of mid-latitude cyclone. However, that will change, because once it reaches Canada, it's going to rapidly strengthen. The unstable air is going to increase as a result of a little bit of a trough that's going to move through by the time the low pressure system crosses the border. And as a result, we're going to see this storm transition more into a mid-latitude cyclone, where we do see the rain extending along this jet stream dip, and we do see heavy snow right surrounding the low pressure system. And this would definitely be a major worry for the United States. However, by the time it really does strengthen, it's going to be well above the border, so a lot of the United States will miss out on the snow, unfortunately for you guys, if you are hoping for the next blockbuster snowstorm before spring comes. So for the most part, the majority of the snow will be to the north of you guys, and the strongest of the storm will be far to the north. However, there still will be snow in the Midwest as depicted by a GFS model, and it could definitely be considered major for some of you guys in the Midwest, depending on whether the GFS model is correct or the European model is correct. If the GFS model is leaning more towards a bigger snowstorm that will dump a little bit more snow throughout a larger area, where in the GFS model up to 6 inches and a little bit more than 6 inches in some areas, especially on the northwestern portion of Michigan, right around this panhandle. They're expecting a little bit more snow, because by the time this low pressure reaches Minnesota, it's already going to begin gradually strengthening to the point where the area of snow will increase. The snowfall rates will also increase right around Michigan, but it's going to be a little bit too early for to really receive the peak snowfall. And in terms of the certainty whether or not you're going to see major snowfall, it really all depends on the second upper level trough that's going to dip down to the United States eventually, right around the Canadian and United States border. Because if this small trough moves just a little bit more south and a little bit earlier, then that could mean that this low pressure system would strengthen, and we see more significant snowfall throughout the northern Midwest, where Minneapolis could get more than the forecasted amount of snow, and also Michigan. However, it also goes the other way, where if the computer models don't detect that that this upper level low is either going to come much later, or it's going to be weaker than usual, or not move as far south, then it could maybe be a significantly weaker snowstorm, where maybe 1 to 2 inches of snow should be forecasted from this. So although we're 2 days out, the uncertainty still remains, because the European and the GFS model are still disagreeing regarding the forecast for this upcoming snowstorm, because while the GFS is taking a much more significant snowstorm, a little bit more unstable air, and a little bit more vorticity within the low pressure system to bring heavier snowfall, the European isn't as lenient as bringing as strong of a snowstorm. If we move forward to the 48-hour mark of the forecast, you're going to see that the European model is a lot weaker, with this snowstorm not bringing as much snow, especially closer to South Dakota, where you see by 48 hours the low pressure is far to the south, and there just isn't much precipitation at all throughout Nebraska and South Dakota. Compare that to GFS 48 hours from now, and it moves a little bit faster as a result of a jet stream that's stronger thanks to the increased amount of unstable air, and also there's just a much larger amount of snow. But the European is taking a slightly weaker approach, where the jet stream isn't as strong, the unstable air isn't as strong, and as a result, the storm will move slower and will be much weaker in the United States for the very least. While the European does agree that this will eventually strengthen as it moves further north, where the upper level low is going to move through and bring a little bit more unstable air to this low pressure system to strengthen it, it's doing it far too late to bring any sort of major snowfall. In terms of the snowfall accumulation forecast from the European and GFS model, while for forecast 48 hours out, we typically would say there's a lot of uncertainty regarding the forecast, but in this case, it seems like both the GFS and the European model are having some disagreements, which makes it a little bit more uncertain than it typically would for a storm system forecasted 48 hours out. Taking a look at the European model's forecast, you're going to see that there, for the most part, South Dakota and Nebraska completely miss out on snow. Maybe an inch if you guys are lucky, but not much snow at all. And then just south of Minneapolis and right around Minneapolis, mainly forecast 1 to 3 inches of snow. And then, but you see majority of the snowfall is well up to north, right around northern Michigan and northern Wisconsin, where this is where you see 3 to 6 inches of snow, and even more than that in some areas where up to 8 inches of snow could be forecasted in northeastern Wisconsin. However, the European isn't as lenient as bringing as much snowfall to Minnesota, Iowa, and a lot of and South Dakota and Nebraska. Compare that to the GFS, you're going to see that the GFS is a lot more lenient on bringing a heavy snowfall threat further to the southwest, midwest, and taking a look at that, you're going to see that a lot more snow throughout with the GFS model, mainly 3 to 6 inches, and this includes Minneapolis as well, and a lot of Wisconsin is now involved, and we do still see the 6 to 10 inch category through in isolated areas in Michigan. So while there are definitely some disagreements, especially with the forecast closer to Minnesota and the Dakotas, for the most part, it's I'd say you should at least expect around the 3-inch mark, right around Minnesota and South Dakota at this point, and maybe northern Nebraska. But for northeastern Michigan and Wisconsin, you guys could receive up to 6 inches of snow and a little bit more than that. So in terms of my snowfall forecasts, combining both the GFS and the European models forecast run, you see that I'm forecasting a large area of 3 to 6 inches. This extends South Dakota, Minnesota, Wisconsin, where 3 to 6 inches is likely, and 3 to 6 inches of snow, you don't want to underestimate it, because I've seen snowstorms that only dump 6 inches of snow cause some of the worst traffic and some of the biggest slowdown on the roads in a long time, especially since a snowstorm could dump high snowfall rates at times, especially closer to Wisconsin. So you guys don't want to underestimate 3 to 6 inches of snow, and 3 to 6 inches is enough to the point where you need to shovel your driveway, because you can't drive out of your driveway in 3 to 6 inches of snow. So keep that in mind, that this could definitely cause some trouble on the roads having 3 to 6 inches of snow. In terms of the timing, when you should expect this, it should be at its worst right around Sunday, maybe Monday if the European model's case is correct. I'd say Sunday night is when the worst for you guys will hit. Taking a look at the Futurecast radar for this snowstorm, you're going to see that this should begin to develop right around Saturday afternoon, and then you see it eventually extends to Minnesota and Wisconsin early Sunday, and then through Sunday afternoon through Sunday morning, it's going to be the worst for a lot of Northeast Michigan. So I'd say the worst part for you guys will be in South Dakota and Nebraska late Saturday, and then for a lot of Minnesota, Wisconsin, this should be an early Sunday event for most of the morning, and this should move relatively quickly thanks to how fast the jet stream is moving, especially since we're in a positive Arctic oscillation, which induces very fast jet stream winds. So definitely prepare if you're in the Midwest. You don't got much time to do so, because this storm will begin impacting you guys right around Saturday night, and which is approximately 36 hours from when I'm recording this. So you guys need to take precaution right around South Dakota and even throughout Wisconsin and Minnesota. You guys definitely need to keep a close eye on this, and especially closer to northern Michigan, where 6 to 12 inches is forecast, and you could maybe be on that higher end of the spectrum if this storm develops a little bit faster than anticipated. But for now, expect right around 6 to 12 inches, maybe the lower end, but even like a snowfall accumulation forecast of 6 to 8 inches, that's still considered a major snowstorm. So keep that in mind if you're in the Midwest. But now let's move on to the next potential severe weather that I think has a possibility of happening at this point. If we take a look at the Storm Prediction Center regarding the severe weather chances, you see that for the most part it's going to be light. We do see a very, very slight, almost minimal chance of any severe weather in the Southeast throughout Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and Tennessee. And if we continue to move forward over the next 3 days, it's mainly the same thing, where while the chance of thunderstorms does extend over a larger area like you see here, which even extends to the mid-Atlantic, you see that for the most part the chances of severe weather are relatively light at this point. So the good news is, at least for the next 3 days, a lot of the Southeast and the mid-Atlantic should be out of the severe weather. But there's still that isolated chance it could happen, and even if a thunderstorm isn't considered severe, it could still bring wind gusts up to 40, so you guys still need to keep that in mind. But the reason why I'm saying we could see a possible severe weather threat is mainly looking towards the future, where if we head right around the 4-day mark, just past the 3-day mark, we do see a dip in the jet stream, and this concerns me because whenever we see a big dip like this in the jet stream, then that definitely means that we have to bring up the fact that a severe weather threat is possible, especially since we're headed into the month of March, where temperatures are going to be a little bit warmer to hold a lot more water vapor within the atmosphere. So when we see a jet stream dip like this, there could be that chance of severe weather. But past this date, it should be mostly quiet, since there isn't forecast to be a jet stream dip. But I'm taking a look at this next low pressure system as well, which could bring some severe weather depending on how much unstable air there is. At this point, there isn't a big jet stream dip that's going to induce it, but it's still definitely something to keep in mind. Taking a look at what the European model is forecasting, we're going to see that there's going to be a decent jet stream dip to induce some thunderstorm activity in the Southeast. While the chance is slight, you guys still need to at least keep that in mind for some rain possible. Let me move on to the forecasted radar. At this point, you're going to see that there's going to be a large area where that could be impacted by thunderstorms. You see here that there's a long extending band of rain. And even moving a little bit forward to 114 hours from now, you do need to keep in track of this next low pressure system, which could induce severe weather. It really all depends on how far south that jet stream dips. And while the chance is slight at this point, I'm a channel that wants to give you guys all the possibilities, so you guys could be prepared for all the possibilities that could happen. And I want you guys to keep that in mind to keep you guys safe. And you see 114 hours from now, we do see some thunderstorms and a little bit of ice, which shows that there's a little bit of cold air to induce some thunderstorm activity. So we just have to wait and see what this low pressure system does. There are currently disagreements with the forecast, because while the European is taking some rain towards Louisiana, the GFS is completely disagreeing with that. So there's just a lot of uncertainty regarding the orientation of the jet stream. So you just have to wait and see. But anyways, guys, I thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you want to see more weather-related content. Make sure to like if you like this video. Make sure to turn on post notifications if you want to see even more weather-related content. I hope you guys have a good day.